Hey everybody, Rob Crouch here with Dwelling Reports. I'm one of the co-founders of Dwelling Reports, and this is part of our series, How to Get the Most Out of Your Dwelling Reports subscription. Now, there's a number of ways, and our users have really surprised us with how they're using Dwelling Reports to help them in their real estate business. But one of the primary ways agents are doing that is they're using Dwelling Reports to prep for listing appointments. And so this is the process. I'm going to just go about how I actually personally, I'm a real estate agent in Fort Collins, how I've used Dwelling Reports and how other users I know are actually have adopted this and are seeing really good success. And so this is what happens. So you guys have all been here. It's a really great day when you get a call from a friend or a referral that says, hey, we're thinking about listing our house. Here's the address. Here's the quality, the condition, all the things that we get when we get that phone call. The next thing I do is I pull up a dwelling report for their house. And so I'm just going to go ahead and pull a dwelling report. We'll do this together. And then after I pull the dwelling report, I actually send a confirmation email because, you always end that listing appointment with a, hey, we're going to meet at this time and this location. You make sure you have an agreement on that. And you say, hey, I'm going to send you over all of my everything you need to know about me, my cost, how we go about marketing a house, and I'm even going to send you some analysis on what's going on in your neighborhood, so we can appropriately price your house. And so here's how I prep for it. So I hang up the phone and I go right into dwelling reports. So let's go ahead and go into it. So let's start a new client. Again, let's see here. Let's do Jane Doe. Great. So I'm just setting up Jane as a new client here. Perhaps one of your other clients had called you, and if you wanted to start with one of them, a client who's already in dwelling reports, just go to their profile, add property there. But here we're just going to pull up this particular property. All right. And let's see here. Let's hit next on this. Great. So this is the house that the client has told me that they want to list. And so I'm just setting up a profile. Now this house is in what's called Indian Hills here in Fort Collins. This was a really popular neighborhood. It's an Old Town adjacent. Old Town's a very popular housing area with 1800 late 1800s to 1950s style homes. These were built in the 1970s and they're really close to that area. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to circle Indian Hills. Great. Boom. Done. And this is a very distinct neighborhood. So I'm actually not going to make any changes. There's some 2 stories and some ranches in there. I could filter on all this stuff. You know what? Maybe I actually want to pull in this neighborhood in Parkwood too. This is really fun. So Parkwood is a really built by almost the same developer. Um, and during the same era and time. Now, these houses on Parkwood Lake, I want to exclude the ones that back to the lake. So I'm actually going to draw a map like this. I don't want to have those homes. That would throw us off because we're over here. We're not back into the lake at all. So I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Now I'm going to hit next. All right, and let's generate the report. So again, Dwelling Reports is going into your MLS account. It's pulling together all the appropriate data for homes that have sold in this area and with the parameters that you gave it. And so here, all right, we got a really, really nice trend line here. So you can see some homes are selling. All these red dots here are all the houses in Indian Hills and Parkwood that have sold. And we have some that are in really good condition, are selling above market value. We've got some that are selling kind of a little below market value. This represents your client's house. And so I'm kind of looking at this, it seems like I know this client, they told me on the phone that, they're in pretty good condition. It had been remodeled in the last 5 years. So I'm going to come up here and say, okay, it's probably going to sell kind of at the top end. What's this guy here? Oh, okay. Let's click in here and take a look. All right, very nice. I mean, you can tell this house has been remodeled. Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful house. And that sold for 1.3. I don't think the client's house is quite this nice. It is very nice. Let's see for this square footage. Maybe I'm going to come in here and let's see if this one's updated. Big ranch. Very interesting. 3-car garage. Okay, this is a nice house too. Not quite as updated, but it is really nice. It seems like it's been updated in the last 5 years. I think this is actually more similar to what my client described to me. Let's look at this guy. Okay, nice, nice. Okay, cool. So it seems like my client's property is probably in this like 1.1 to 1.2 million. And this is really enough for the client. this is a 10,000 foot view, which is about as much as my client wants to know. And then I can just get this started and get this sent off to them. Wow, look at this correlation, really strong here. It just has this one property over here that sold for way more. And then we got this one over here that's selling. That's that's going to take a while to sell probably. So we know that A plus plus houses are selling at 1,325 and kind of on the sim line. Yeah, I think this is like a million, a one house ish right in here. And then now I'm just able to send this to my client. I'm not going to make a comment on price. I'm just going to say, hey, here's some data of recent sales in your neighborhood. And this is just kind of getting them prepped and all the things. So I'm just going to come up here. I'm not going to make a comment on price. I'm going to do a really in-depth market analysis, but gives me a really good starting point. So I'm just going to copy this, send report, copy this link here, and I'm going to drop this in an email to them that says, hey, Jane, I'm looking forward to our meeting, and it's going to be at your house on Pawnee Drive at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. I've included my marketing report, so in my marketing plan, which talks a little bit about my pricing, how we're going to market your home, who's on my team, who you can expect to hear from, and how we go about our business. And then I've also attached this dwelling report, which really outlines exactly what's happening in your neighborhood as of late. So if you could take a look at this data, it would be really helpful. And then we'll be able to kind of talk about pricing and positioning your home based upon some of this data and some more that I'll bring to the meeting. I copy the link, I put the link to the dwelling report in there, and I just pop it off to them. Now that starts a really, really sets a really good precedent of like, wow, this person put together a really solid market data for me in a pretty quick period of time, and it gives them days to offer, days to sold, a price versus days on market. It talks, price per square foot. It gives them all the listings. They can come in here and they can click on them, see what photos look like, all that kind of stuff. And so that's pretty impressive that you can create that in about a minute, maybe 2 minutes overall. So pop that link in an email, send that off to them, then do your more hardcore market analysis from there. And then when you go to the listing appointment, you're going to pull this up, and you're going to have a suggested price of a million to a million, or sorry, 1.1 to 1.125 or 1.13. You can plot it on here, and you can say, okay, that puts us kind of right in this range here. Do you feel comfortable with that? Is that going to get us where we're going to go? And we keep having this conversation. So I hope that's helpful for you. I hope you're able to get these things out. It's really, really fun to watch your potential sellers, really kind of sell themselves on your service by the time you get there, because they're able to see this data. They're not going to be saying, oh, I'm going to list my house for way up here, something like that. So get these things out. And yeah, I hope you have a great time using dwelling reports. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Catch you soon. Happy listing appointments.